Okay, I'm back, and the music is back, and my mouth is back. So I have no idea what was going wrong there. It broke, and SWB audio capture was, if I tried its preview, it was very crunchy sounding. But it seemed to be OBS that was breaking. Now, I don't know if it's because I removed the mic, but didn't actually remove the mic, so we will see. Hopefully, this continues to work, but who knows? Maybe it won't. Anyway, how is everyone? I evidently well, seeing things break all the time, which is fine, totally fine. Look, the situation is fine. I am perfectly happy with how things are going. Perfectly happy. Look at my happy face. But yeah, we are going to be doing some work on Coppice. We're going to be continuing with our let's see. Oh, someone's ringing the doorbell. Give me 1 second, I will be right back. Okay, I am back. And apparently it was no one. According to my security camera, it was a delivery driver who evidently could not wait the 20 seconds it took me to mute and go to the door. Hey, this stream is already off to a fantastic start, isn't it? Aye. Right. Let us let us head over and start getting some stuff done. So, let's increase our font size a bit. I'm definitely going to have to get myself some better headphones set up here because I'm currently using some old Apple earbuds and they're not the most comfortable. I prefer soft tip ones, and these are the ones that always end up hurting my ears, so I'm going to have to get some of those. By the way, how does the echo sound today on the mic? Because I ended up yesterday going and buying a rug to put down on the floor, so that should hopefully be dampening things a bit. I've got another rug coming as well, so that should help a bit more, and then we'll see where we go from there, because I'm still working out everything with this audio setup. Okay, so you haven't noticed much. Well, I mean, I've also got the blinds closed, sort of, so that should hopefully reduce the window effect. So I think once I get another rug in, it should be enough. I'm probably gonna, rather than getting some foam, what I may do is get some artwork for the walls that is maybe like a canvas or something like that. I am turned ever so slightly away from the mic, though it's still in front of me. Like, this is me talking directly at the mic, and this is me looking at chat while I'm talking. So there could be a little bit, depending on that, but we'll see. I don't have a huge amount in front of me, because I just have my monitors and an empty wall. And behind me isn't too bad, because I have a bunch of stuff on shelves. It's the floor and the ceiling that the issue, and I can't do much with the ceiling, but I can do with the floor. And then the walls, as I say, I'll probably get some canvas artwork that I can stick up, because that should help dampen the sounds a bit, and then potentially like get some foam if I absolutely need to, as like a last resort. But it should be enough with the music on for streaming purposes. It's certainly significantly better than my old microphone. But yeah, that was one of my many purchases yesterday, because yesterday was an expensive day. In fact, before we get started, let me tell you about yesterday, because we get the cost of living. So I bought myself a rug to help with the microphone. I've also had to buy another one, so that is coming at some point, along with a few other bits and pieces of the house that I bought. I also went downtown, bought a bunch of food for stuff, and then I was looking at other stuff. So I believe I have mentioned on stream the saga of my shower, of the shower from hell, the shower that kept leaking and then broke and has been taken out and is being replaced. Well, that is going to cost me about £1,000. So we're already off to a great start, finding out that I'm going to be spending about £1,000 getting a new shower fit. Good. But at least I'm getting a new shower out of it. Then yesterday, because it was my day off from contract work and streaming, where I tried to get lots of jobs done, I phoned up my utility company, because my direct debit for my electricity was too small, so I was getting into debt. So I wanted to correct that. I also wanted to get an energy display, because I have smart meters, and one of the key things is it's meant to show you how much energy have you used and how much does that cost you, and I don't have that display. So I asked for one of those. And then I mentioned, look, I'm on a fixed energy rate at the moment, and that's expiring in October. And energy prices are going up. Can I get on a new fixed rate before they go up? Yes, they said. Okay, how much is it? Oh, it costs a lot. How much is a lot? Oh, nearly 3 times what you were paying. What? Well, I mean, that's expensive. Can I wait a bit until like September, when I don't have to pay an early exit fee? Oh, you can, but unfortunately, well, we bump the number of our... So they have a green tariff which has a number on it. And every time they change the rate of that, they increment the number. So last October, it was 17. they're currently up to 38. And apparently 2 weeks ago they were on 32. The guy was saying that they can get in the morning and just get a new rate. And for the average annual cost, it has gone up about £100 in the past week. And it will probably keep going up. So normally, my monthly rate, I would have been paying about £115 for gas and electricity. That's averaged out over the year, and that would effectively mean about £1,400 a year. Okay? My new rate from September is not £115, £300 a month. So about £3,600 a year. 1,400 to 3,600. And the thing is, I'm still probably doing okay out of this, because the current estimates are it could get up to 6,500 for an average household by like April, May next year. So yeah. It's yeah. I mean I actually have the rates they gave me. In terms of the per unit cost for electricity, it's gone from about 25 pence, I believe it's per kilowatt hour, to 61 pence per kilowatt hour. 25 to 61. And for gas, it's gone from about 5 pence per kilowatt hour to 14 pence per kilowatt hour. You're talking pretty much 2.5 to 3 times per kilowatt hour. So, yeah. I mean, I can afford the increase, at least with it being capped and stuff, but yeah, that's still a lot of money. That is a very lot of money. And yeah. And the thing is, that's for an average household. Like the price cap that they keep talking about in the news is for an average household. A 2 to 3 people in a 3-bedroom, like in a 2 to 3 bedroom house. For people in a bigger house, or a house that doesn't have appropriate heating or any insulation or stuff like that, you could be talking 4,000-5,000. So when they say, oh, the price cap is around 3,600 for an average household, I think I saw something that 20% of households are paying over £5,000 from October. So yeah, that happened. So yeah, buy my software. It helps keep the lights on. Literally. But yeah. It's not the best of times. I mean, the one good thing is I do have we are getting the absolute bare minimum of the £400 thing over winter, so that should help take some of the edge off, but that's still a lot that needs paying. So yeah, it's like I'm not hurting from it. I have the disposable income to pay for it. The people I worry about are the people who do not have the disposable income to see their energy bills within the space of a year, within 12 months, basically go 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times what they were paying. I mean, there is a very real chance that people could be paying more for gas and electricity by this time next year than they are on their mortgage. Anyway, hey Gwillem, how are you doing? Oh, I have realized something. So I'm currently in the process of redoing how my all the facial expressions, because I want to give them a bit more to deal with. I want to, like, the eyes are pretty good and the actual mouth animations are great on the Pixel version. But I want to add some more frames for the mouth. I want to add more flexibility to allow me to move stuff around, because for those of you who weren't here on Wednesday, I've done some designing because I'm going to add 3 more expressions. So what we can see here, this is my head empty expression. So I tried messing around with some head empty stuff, but I realized, wait, why don't we do something different? So this is going to be the head empty expression. And it's actually going to flash up a message, like alternate between this and a message, and the message is just going to be 404 brain not found, which I think works pretty well. Then we have one that I already have an emote for, which is surprised. And then we have one that Kieran caused, and Kieran made the Pokebot do this. Kieran made the Pokebot cry. Why did you do it, Kieran? Why? Look at him. Look how upset he is. How could you do such a thing? But yeah, let's see. Just relaxing, good to catch you. Yeah, it's good to have you here. Hopefully you are having a good time, Gwillem. Hopefully you're having a nice, relaxing Saturday. This is what happens when you throw all those bugs at the Pokebot. He starts to cry. But yeah, so those are some expressions that I'm going to do, but I need to tweak things, because for example I want to be able to move the eyes within the glasses to be able to look from side to side and do various things, so I'm going to be working that out later. So we will see where that goes. I was going to start on it yesterday, but I just got so much stuff done. I've been cleaning out my office, the filing cabinet in my office, and I've managed to get through all my personal, because I've got 2 drawers in the filing cabinet, one for personal, one for business stuff. I managed to get through the personal stuff and get about a 4-inch thick pile of paper to shred, and I've got through that, and now I've got through all the business stuff, and I've got another about 4-inch pile of paper to shred. Like, my wheelie bin for all the paper and cardboard is almost full up. Like, it's almost completely full of shredded paper, because I've been keeping stuff for way too long. There's no reason for me to keep documents from 2010 when they are not useful. Anyway, enough of that. Let us get on to some real work. So, what we were doing last time... Oh, Xcode. That's fair point. What have I got? Where are the sound effects going? Oh, don't want sound effects going there. Okay, sound effects can go through there. Hey, every single time. I'll be glad when we get rid of the Xcode betas, and I can actually just switch completely over. Because I need to use Xcode 13 for work, but I need to use Xcode 14 for my stuff. So, right, build and run. So, yep, we got the highlighting working, didn't we? So what we're currently doing is, if I just hide the arrow bounds. So what we want to have happen is when you hover over a link, it will highlight the arrow relating to that link. So for example, if I hover over C, that should probably highlight this one. If I hover over B, it should highlight these two. But I also want it where if you hover over an arrow, it will highlight it in here. So what we did, I believe we got it where it will actually print out down here the link. So that will allow us to determine this. So we need to add the link to the arrow so that we can sync those up. And then what we need to do is the hovering over the arrow, which is the somewhat tricky bit because I want it to be fairly close to the arrow. So we're probably going to do a box, and if you're in the box, then we will calculate on the Bezier path. Okay. So let me just write this stuff up. Add page link to canvas link. First, add hovering over link and add link highlighting. So what we want in order to highlight, we need the arrow going from a page. That we can probably work out. We need the source page. So the question is, do we have the source link on there? We should do. I think. I can't remember how my software works. Where are we? Canvas layout. We've got the link layout engine, which has a layout engine linked. Okay. So we had the source page ID and the destination page ID. Where are we actually creating this? Getting there from a canvas link. Source page, destination page. Okay. So, layout engine link. What we are going to add is public let page link. Add that to there so that we can canvas link that link and page link is page link. So what are people's plans for the weekend? Have you got much that you're up to? Are you just having a quiet relaxing weekend? Let's have a look here. Right, so that should be good. So that should give us all the information we need. So we should be good there. Canvas layout engine. Oh, lots of work, Sinister. Is this for your own projects, or is this for university projects? Relaxing working on personal projects. That is the best thing to do on a weekend if you can do it. Really feel the need to do a clean. Got chores and now afternoon work to go on. Yeah, I was doing chores in the morning. I tried to get my chores done during the morning, so I've tidied downstairs, done a bunch of stuff. I mean, I always have more that I want to get done, but never do. But hopefully over the course of the next few days I'll get it done. I mean, it's why I'm glad I have these Fridays now, so I can do all these things that I do not have time for at the weekends, because between chores and streaming, it's hard to find time to do certain things, such as make those random phone calls that you need to do, or get various other jobs done around the house and so on. So it's nice to have that. Though I do have, not next week but the week after, I have that entire week off contract work, so we'll see how that affects streaming. I definitely want to take some days just off and not do anything, but I may do a few more streams during that week. I also want to get a few bits and pieces done in preparation for the next stuff for streaming, because there's a lot of stuff around the website where once we get this version of Coppice done, I'm going to start looking in, start actually working on implementing the website. But that has certain bits of information that I cannot show, either for security reasons or for legal reasons, because it is customer data. So what I need to do is make sure everything is all sorted out so that I can do the development with zero risk of showing it. And what that is largely going to involve is ensuring that, just auditing things and make sure none of the secure stuff is visible at any point on stream, but also building myself a comprehensive fake set of data that I can use for testing and stuff, and that I can regenerate at will. So that is probably going to be the project that I do that week off stream, because then I can guarantee that I can wipe the data, use this new data set that has no customer data or anything even remotely close to it. A lot of the development stuff doesn't, but as you get close to releasing it, it does. So the only place where the customer data is when things are actually released, at which point I'll be doing that stuff off stream anyway. Simply because I can't do that stuff on stream. So yeah, I'll be doing stuff like that, but university work, hopefully it will be over soon enough and you can get it in. It's one of the greatest senses of relief I've ever felt in my entire life was walking out of my last ever exam at university. That was truly the greatest feeling of relief, and it was really nice because it was a nice sunny day, not too warm. It's like perfect weather, perfect temperature. Yeah, you've got this, Sinister. You can do it. You've got the skill, you've got the talent. You can pull it off. Right. So we have that in there. Now, how are we going to do the link? Because we get the layout frame, we get all this. The problem is the actual arrow is drawn here. The line must be drawn here. This far, no further. The correct pronunciation for that quote is the line must be drawn here. Draw helper, draw. Bonus points if you know what that quote is from. Right, so we draw the arrow, we draw the line, path for vertical line. Right, what I may need to do so the arrowheads are fine. But I may need to move the Bezier path where is okay, so we have canvas layout engine configuration arrow. Right, so we have the length, then we have the corner size There's that. So what I may do is make this, rather than doing a Bezier path, I may make it boxy. So that we can have the interaction bounds. And then this can draw the interaction bounds. Okay. So what we are going to do... layout engine... Oh, that's something that's just occurred to me. Gwilym, how did you fix the frame rate issues with your display capture? Because Kieran has been having some issues with his, and I think you're both using the same technique to capture. See, I've been binging a lot of Deep Space Nine lately and don't remember any episodes I've seen so far, which, as reruns I watch on TV, must be much later in the series. Yeah, I mean, Deep Space Nine is kind of, I mean, like a lot of Star Trek, it's kind of iffy in the first few series, and really it only gets solid from series 3 onwards. It's the same for Next Generation, sort of the same for Voyager. It's one of those things where the series that get good earlier on tend not to last as long, unfortunately. Whereas the ones that get off to a rocky start tend to last longer. So Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager all lasted 7 series, but the first few series of them were kind of iffy. Whereas Enterprise, and I will stand by this, Enterprise is a good show. And season 4 of Enterprise, if you exclude the finale, which was rushed and is quite possibly the worst episode in Star Trek history, if you ignore that, the rest of season 4 for me is the best season of Star Trek. And any Star Trek. Because it is just that solid, and it was setting up so much good stuff for a season 5, and then it got cancelled. So now, I haven't yet seen Strange New Worlds, and from what I understand, that is by far the best of the new Star Treks. I've heard a lot of incredibly good reviews for that. Right, so we have Voyager ended sort of quickly. The first, like, Voyager didn't end quickly as a series. It's just the very last episode ended very quickly and very abruptly. It was an incredible episode. It's like one of the best episodes of Voyager, the finale. It just feels like it needed just a little bit more at the end as like an epilogue. Oh yes, no, they've been making new Star Trek for a while. It's mostly, I mean, it's set in different times. You've got, I mean, there are 5 different Star Trek series at the moment, which is more than we've had at any point in the past. The most we've had concurrently in the past has been 2. Yeah, 2, because Next Generation finished before Voyager, so Deep Space Nine sort of overlapped them, and then I think Voyager finished before Enterprise started. But we have Star Trek Discovery, which is set in the original series era, or just before it. We have Strange New Worlds, which is set just before the original series. You have Picard, Star Trek Picard, which is set after the Next Generation movies, quite way after that. You have Lower Decks, which I think is set between the Next Generation movies and Picard. I still haven't actually watched Lower Decks yet, but a lot of people seem to enjoy it. And then you have Prodigy, which is a kids one that's on Nickelodeon, that's an animated, because Lower Decks is animated, but Prodigy is animated, which I believe Prodigy is a Federation spaceship, has somehow found its way, I believe, to the Delta Quadrant, or maybe it's another galaxy or something like that. And some alien kids find it and take control and are trying to pilot it and everything, so. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I've stopped watching a lot of TV, but with Star Trek, I've seen Series 1 of Picard. I've got about halfway through Series 2 of Discovery. I haven't seen Strange New Worlds. I haven't seen Lower Decks. I haven't seen Prodigy. So I need to get back into watching them at some point. No, I don't know if anyone else gets this. I get this weird thing where sometimes I don't want to watch new stuff. I find it easier to rewatch stuff I've already watched than watch something new. So it's far easier for me to go back and watch an episode of Next Generation, of Voyager, or Deep Space Nine, or Enterprise than it is to finally start watching the new things. And it's not because I don't like the new things. It isn't even to do with Star Trek. It's so much easier to rewatch something I've watched rather than watching something new. And I don't quite get why. Right, so we've got the start point in layout frame, the end point in layout frame. So I think if I go to our page arrow view, so we're drawing the bounds. Alright, where are we? Left, top. So, if we're in the layout frame... So we get the source point, and we minus that. I think what I'm going to do endpoint in layout frame. You sure you took a gamble on the win was inside job? Is that the one where it's like all the conspiracy theories are true and there's an organization whose job is to stop people finding out the conspiracy theory? Like, it's the conspiracy is there's an organization that hides every single conspiracy theory. Yeah, I've heard good things about that one. I mean, there are a few shows that I've watched, like new shows that I've watched recently that I've enjoyed. I said recently, in the past like year or two. One of them was, most of them are on Netflix actually. There's Shadow and Bone, which was a very good one. I'm looking forward to when they do another series of that. I'm sure there was another one that was live action. Oh yeah, of course, The Witcher. And yeah, probably finally I would say, well, Arcane. Quite possibly. That is by far the best show I've watched in a long, long time. So far, interaction. Not an interaction frame, it's an interaction path. TypeScript Tea Time, welcome. How are you doing today? And similar vibe to Shadow and Bone, have you checked out Carnival Row? No, I haven't. Oh, I'll tell you what was one that I don't know if it's fan leak. Oh, what was the name of it? What was it called? Here we are, The Nevers, which was something that they seemed to show the first 6 episodes of, and then they haven't shown the next 6. Let's see, when was it? Series premiered. So the first season was premiered on April 11th, 2021, and that was the first half of season 1, and they still haven't done the second half of season 1 yet. And I thought it was quite an interesting concept that sort of started getting even more interesting. Doing well, enjoying your Saturday afternoon lemonade. I'm doing fairly good. We had some problems earlier on in the stream, some audio problems and some OBS crashing problems, so it has been an interesting start to the stream, but yep, slowly getting through some work. So what I'm going to do is a nice Bezier path. A nice Bezier path. Pathway, right, let's just do rect. Nice Bezier path with rect. And CG rect with points. Start point in layout frame, end point in layout frame. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start drawing that, because this will allow us to correctly. So I'm going to fade this out a bit more. So I'm going to have that, but then what we're going to do is in this color, white with alpha component 0.2 set. And we're going to do arrow dots. Oh, do I need to? Yeah, I need to make it public. Interaction path. Public var interaction path. Arrow dot interaction path. Dot fill. Why do we have a compiler error? Oh, import appkit. Right. So why is that an optional? Why did I make that optional? Let rect equals containing rect. Oh. Well, we always know there's going to be points, so. Okay, Kieran, see you in a little bit then. Hopefully you managed to get some of your chores done. Value arrow point to it. Oh. Dot point. Dot point. Right, let's see if this draws correctly. Probably not. Oh, actually it does. Okay, so progress. So the next thing we want to do we had the layout frame, basic frame, inset by arrowhead side divided by 2. So what we're going to do is a very simple path, which is just going to be, because we have a length here, so that's going to be a rectangle. That's going to be a rectangle, and then we're just going to connect those two dots here. Music reminds you of the game Heroes of Hammerwatch. This particular song is Stay By My Side from Miracle of Sound, which I believe is... Oh, what's the name? PlayStation 4 game. Journey, that's it. Let's just link the video in chat for you. But yeah, it's a Miracle of Sound song for Journey, the video game. I don't think it was in the game, it was just one he wrote about it, so. Right, so what we want to do... Is it in rect? Is it in rect? Is it in... Right, so... Let's path equals ns Bezier path. So we're going to create a fresh path. I'm going to move to... Self.start point in layout frame. Adjusted. Point. I want to add. Oh, this is going to depend on whether we're vertical or not. In which case we're going to end up reusing a lot of stuff. Okay. Is there an NS Bezier path? And it will expand, transform. I don't think that's what we want. I mean, it could be. Let's give this a go. And what I'm going to do is get our page arrow view. We've got a draw helper here. And we're going to get our path. Right, so that isn't going to work because that is a line. So that is going to give us path for the line. Path for horizontal line. No. If we could get the path for, because that is in Coppice core, so we can use it in the layout engine. So if we could get the line from this, which we can do, then could we transform it down and then append? Let path copy equals. Oh. Let final path equals NS Bezier path. So we're going to do that. And then what we're going to do is path transform using affine transform. Or affine transform. Translation. Let's just translate it by 10. Let's do it by 5. And then we'll do final path dot final path. Then we can do path dot transform Unifying transform 0. We do -10. Final path dot append. Oh, we don't want to append final path. We want to append path. We have the line width and the stroke. We're going to do those on the final path. Let's see what this does. Okay. Well, let's do 10 and -10 and see what that looks like. Okay, so I do 10 and -20. Okay, and if I final path dot close, is that going to do what I expect? No, because that... Right. Because I... Let me just hide that a sec while I bring up this and just make sure. Okay, there's nothing in there. I am curious if I Bezier path equals this Bezier path. I'm going to set the path, move to 0. Bezier path line 2, x will do 20 0. And then I'm going to move to 20 20. Line 2, CG point x 0 y 20. Okay, so we have our Bezier path. So if I do Bezier path contains CG point so it contains that. It contains 0. Does it contain that? No. Does it contain that? Nope. And it doesn't contain that. if I do line 2, then they are all there. Okay, so therefore I would need to shift it up. Final path dot line 2 path dot current point plus 0 minus 20. Final path dot lows. Why is close going there? Oh, because it's going path dot right. Path dot reversed, and then if I close it, this may work because the paths are both going the same way. So no, that does not work. I mean, yeah, that doesn't seem to be. Okay, I think I'm gonna go and make myself a drink and have a think about what I want to do with this. So I will be back in a little bit, however long it takes to boil a kettle. So I will see you all in a few minutes. I will run an ad during the break just so that we get rid of those pre-rolls and anyone coming in doesn't miss anything. So I will see you all in a little bit.
So breathe
welcome back. So, trying to work out what we want to do here. I genuinely think we're going to be better just doing a rectangular box rather than dealing with the curves. Now we can still utilize this. Right, so where do we actually use the path? So we move to the line chart, line to there. And we do a curve to the end straight. So yeah, so we'll stick this on the link. We've got our interaction path. What we want to do though, undo all of this. Okay, that is back to normal. Right. So half the vertical line. Right. Let's start a straight bit. We have the line down, we have the end straight bit. We don't actually care about the direction it goes in this case. But I'm not even sure why we care about the direction it goes. Regardless. Because I mean, we're not drawing. I just want to try something. Let's delete that. Delete that. Delete that. I'm going to delete that. But it shouldn't matter which direction these go. It does. Okay, so why? And that is... Oh, okay. Yeah, I see why. Okay then, if we keep our drill helper over there, what we are going to do is go into our canvas engine link interaction path. So we want to move to the point private bar vertical interaction path. So let's path equals NS Bezier path. Path. Move to point self dot source point dot point plus y self dot we don't have access to the config, probably through the canvas layout engine. Okay. Let's config equals that configuration dot arrow else return. Let left to right equals dot source point dot edge equals left. In fact, we could do left point equals self dot source point. Oh, left to right self dot source point dot point or self dot destination point dot point. No, that point equals left to right self dot destination point dot point or self dot source point dot point. And then we can just do this in terms of left to right, I suppose. Let me just close the window because someone is mowing the lawn outside. Okay, so left point plus and we want let width equals config dot arrowhead size width divided by 2. And then path dot line 2 plus y. Actually, what we got the left point, we got the right point. What we want is let left straight point equals left point plus so the x is config dot line width. Oh no, config dot end length, I believe it is, and the right straight point is going to be the right point minus that. And what that will allow us to do is just focus on this. Left straight point width divided by 2. In fact, we can rename this to offset divide that by 2. Just left point plus offset. Left straight point. Right straight point. Right point. And then we're going to do these in reverse. But minus. And then we can do the same here. This is going to be top to bottom. Oh yeah, that needs to be inverted because this is the edge it's coming from. Turn path. Return path. Oh yeah, we need to return path, don't we? So I'm curious what people get out of the stream. Is it just something to relax to? Is it something that you watch to learn something? Just curiosity of how things work? So I'm always curious on how to make things better and what sort of people want to watch and what they want to get out of the stream. I know some people just stick a stream on and do some work in the background, and that's great. I do that all the time. Some people want to watch something and be engaged, and just trying to work out what is people seek to get out of it. Listening to someone work helps you work. Yeah, it's a useful thing to have. I mean, it depends what I'm doing. If I'm coding, sometimes listening to someone else work doesn't help. But if I'm doing something art, design wise, then it can do. I think it's because coding and sort of processing speech, I don't know if they use the same part of the brain, but it almost feels like it to a degree, where you're having to think about stuff a bit more, whereas at least with me, when I do any sort of art or design, it's not that I'm not thinking, it's like my brain is not having to work in quite the same way. It's like it's a bit like you don't have to think about your heart beating, breathing and stuff like that. You don't have to think in the same way about art, at least I find, or design, or any sort of visual stuff. It's like that part of the brain is just you just do it. Whereas programming is a lot more having to think things through. Like here, I'm having to visualize this in my... I suppose the best way to think of it is there a translation? If I have something in my head that I want to put onto the page, I don't have to do much translation. I can take the image in my head and I want to put it onto a computer screen, and I also have the results on the computer screen that assists me. Like, it's very visual, it's there, so I don't have to process what does this look like as much because I'm looking at it. Whereas, which leaves the rest of my brain free to do the processing of audio. But when you're programming, like this here, if you don't know programming, you probably cannot visualize what this is doing. I can. I can see what this is drawing without having to run the code. I just read through the code and it goes out there. But that requires a bit more processing. And it's like having to build these visual mental models up uses a bit more. So it's a bit harder to listen to someone's stream when you're having to do the problem solving stuff. If I'm just doing something where it's like lots of repetitive stuff where I've already planned out what I'm doing and I'm just doing it, it is... Yeah, I can do that. So it's just... But yeah, it's just interesting finding what people get out of the stream. Because I know people like pop in, pop out. So it's just working out what sort of things people do. Okay, so what do we... We don't seem to be drawing them. Why are we not drawing? Right. Yeah, so getting the interaction path. We go there. Go in. We'll go all the way to there. Can we see what the path looks like? We can, and it is wrong. So path line 2. Top point minus offset. And we're going to want path dot line to left point minus offset. Okay. Okay, that is looking a bit more correct. So, the question is, why is it not drawing? Oh. Needs to be in the layout frame. There we go. Oof. Yeah. That's not gonna work. I mean, for starters, well, that's meant to be Y, that's meant to be Y. All of these need to be X. Let's try that again, but it's probably still not going to work. Yeah, so the vertical ones look better, but let's close some of these. So it's decent approximation for most of it, but not entirely. While the centre box is within those bounds, it is fine. It's when the centre box moves out of those bounds, we're getting... Yeah, I'm just going to have to draw the arrow. Yeah. I'm just going to have to draw the arrow line. Hey. Okay. How do we actually do that? Half a horizontal line. Okay, so I should be able to a straight point. Right, straight point, and just copy paste this. Hey Uli, it is going reasonably at the moment. Just currently trying to calculate some hit areas for Bezier paths, and the hit areas are bigger than said Bezier path. So what I think I can do is go to here, and we want curve to there, control point, start control, control point to end control, but we're going to plus y offset, plus y offset. We want this, that is going to be the left. End control, we're going to rename those in a second. I don't believe there is. Relative move, relative curve, line cap, blah blah blah. Yeah, there isn't. The closest you would get is transform, but the issue there is that the Bezier path that I have is a single line that I stroke when I'm basically wanting to take that into, well, I can show you. This is just using straight lines, but you can see that we have these curves here. And I'm basically wanting this width. It doesn't have to be the same width all the way because you're not really going to get that, but enough so that the target area is a bit bigger than this. I mean, I can always adjust the control areas if I need to. Alright, so that minus, and that wants to be start control. Okay, that should work. Okay, it does. Now when it gets narrow, we have some issues. So we're going to want to tweak the control points a bit. Is there a call to get the Bezier path for the outline? That isn't on NS Bezier path, I don't believe. But I wonder. CG. Oh, is there no CG Bezier path on the Mac? Or was it? CG path, that's it. New path is created so that filling the new path draws the same pixels as stroking the original path with the line style. Okay, so this may be what you are thinking of. In fact, let's give it a go over here. Path equals CG path. Oh, it needs to be a mutable path, doesn't it? CG mutable path, move to CG point, well, we can do 0. Path, move to CG point, let's do 20, 20. do path dot I forget, how do you actually draw a path? CG path. Well, that's a good question. I very rarely needed to use CG path. Path dot. No, there isn't a fill or a stroke. CG path. Add stroke CG path. CG context. Right. No, there isn't a dot current. This array. That's path. Align with CG path. You get the current context, you create a path, and then you add the path to the context. Okay. Yeah, nsgraph context.current.cg context dot add path. And then we can do ns graphics context dot current. Well, let's oh yeah, there isn't an ns graphics context, is there? No. Is that an NS object? Path. There isn't a way to create a Bezier path from CGPath, because why would they have added that functionality to AppKit in the past 15 years? Yeah, I may need to. This is going to be, why don't we just, rather than doing it in here, let's stick it in Coppice. Do it this way. Right. ns graphics context.current.cg context, and we can Force that. Dot add path. Path. Oh no, we probably don't want to do that in there. Let's throw this into our page arrow view for now. Flat context equals ns graphics. CG context. Context dot add path context dot stroke path. Okay. If we set, let's just set that to 50-50 just so that we can. Okay, I think we need to set the color, don't we? Context that set stroke color is going to be that white. Context dot set line width. Let's set it to 4 and let's try that. I'm not drawing it. Oh! It needs to be add line. Okay, now adjusted path equals context dot what equal no adjusted path equals path dot copy broken with width. Let's do 20. But round I don't know. Helps if I actually use the adjusted path. Now we're still going to stroke it, but this should. Aha, Uli, you are a genius. Of course, the problem with said genius is that I now need to change all my NS Bezier paths over to CG paths. Okay. How do I want to do this? Has to be a way to convert between them. Convert CG path to NS Bezier path. Oh. Okay. So some interesting knowledge. You can convert a CG path to an NS Bezier path using CG path apply. So if I look for apply with block, and that gets us our element, and it gets our element type, which is a move or an add line. Add quad. Add a cube. Oh, right. So I can ignore that. Because NS Bezier path. Right, so I wonder if that is a optimization. Yeah, the thing it says is the only tricky part is the conversion of CG path ref's quadratic curves to NS Bezier path's cubic curves. So you've got to use this equation here, but that only matters there. And then I mean, what I really want is on NS Bezier path, take a path and stroke it with basically implementing this on NS Bezier path. So what I would want to do is take the Bezier path, convert it to a CG path, call this, and then convert back to a Bezier path. So, and there's a Bezier path plus M3 extensions. So Bezier path only deals with cubic curves. It doesn't deal with quadratic curves. CG path supports quadratic curves as well. So if I go to NS Bezier path, you'll see the element types are move to, line to, curve to, and close path. If I go here, you see it's move to point, add line to point, so first two are equal, add quad curve to point, add curve to point, close subpath. Now, what I'm going to do, for my own purposes, is cheat. I'm not going to bother implementing this just yet. Why? Because I never use quadratic curves. And for the purpose I need them for, I'm not going to be using quadratic curves. That's a fair point. Does UI... I'd assume UI Bezier path might. Does that support quadratic curves? It does. Right, pairs quadratic Bezier curve. Potentially, but I mean the process of iterating to a CG path and then back to a NS Bezier path shouldn't be too much, because what I'm going to be doing is a two-stage Because the whole point is I want to know when someone hovers over or around these lines so that I can then highlight a link. Now, in order to save it, what I'm going to do is it's only going to do, like, we can do a basic bounding box. Set the clip path using CG and then read it using NS. But that's a question of whether NS graphics context. But if you set the clip path, does that take the stroke into account? I mean, I'm still going to have to convert it to a CG path anyway. Let's have a look. Quadratic is literally just where... I mean, is there a difference between a quadratic curve and a cubic one where both the control points are the same? What does this actually say? Any quadratic span can be expressed as a cubic, where the cubic term is 0. The endpoints of the cubic will be the same as the quadratics. Two control points for the cubic are... So the cubic 0 is quadratic 0. Cubic point 3 is quadratic point 2. Yeah. Control point 1 is quadratic point 0 plus 2/3 divided by quadratic point 1 minus quadratic point 0. Yeah, I don't need to care about that. The only time I'm going to be using a CG path is this, really. I use NS Bezier path all other times. So we're going to just create some simple methods. NS Bezier path for symmetry extensions. So we've got stuff there. To convenience init CG path. Undo var CG path. And then we're going to do Bezier path, path, open that up. Working with width, line width, G float, line cap, NS Bezier path dot line cap style. Actually, let's just leave those out for now. I don't need them for now. I can add them later. NS Bezier path. Okay. So convert to a CG path. What I want to do is let mutable path equals CG mutable path, and then what we're going to do is for element in self dot. Oh, do you not have an array? An iterator. Why can't you just return that as an array? Elements. Point should contain at least 3 points. Points may be null. In the case of curve 2, the order is control point 1, control point 2, end point. Okay. So for element index in 0 to after element count, that element equals self.element at element index for point array equals ns. How do you use an ns point array in Swift? Swift ns point array. Do. So we would have var point array and point array is that? No. Can I do equals that mutating nil? And then pass that in. Oh God. No. NS point array Swift. Okay. And this point array that allocate with capacity 3. So we do that. That gives us our element. Okay. That gives us the element and a point. So then we can switch element dot. No, it's the element. It's just the element type. So switch on the element. Is going to be mutable path. Move 2, and there should just be one point in the point array, so we can do point array 0. Mutable path dot add line 2. Oh no, yeah, add line 2, point array 0. Mutable path dot add curve 2. And it said the control points come first, so mutable path dot close subpath. Return mutable path. I have this. Highly unlikely. Okay. So we can just do self.init path dot apply with block. And what we want to do is switch element dot dot path so element pointer, let element equals element pointer dot pointee. Switch on element dot type. Is going to be self move to that points equals element pointer equals element dot points there's and there's pointer array. Or can I just do a straight? Yeah, can do. As their equivalent. So moved. No, do I even need to do that? I should be able to do point 0. Self dot line to point 0. Precondition fail. Yeah, hubris, you said I'll never need this. Self dot line to no curve 2. Okay. Control points and the destination points. I think we are in the same boat here, where it is points 2, points 1, no, points 0, points 1, self dot close, break. Okay. And what we want to do here is let CG path equals self.cg path. Let stroked path equals CG path dot copy stroking with line width. We'll just do but round 1 and return and this Bezier path with CG path, stroked path. That's stroked with width because you're not stroking. It's the path is stroked with width. Okay. So where is where am I looking? Layout engine link. Here we go. So we do path, move to line point. Left straight point, right straight point, right point. So we're going to do that. But all the dot plus y offset. Oh, don't want to do it there. Dot plus y offset. Once replaced with nothing. Not going to close because we're just going to line to there. But then we're going to return path. Well, actually, no. What we can do is if we just save and build this, we're going to see exactly what it does, which should just be draw a white line over the existing arrow. What we want to do is arrow view. Let's go to that. Let's do yellow. In fact, there will be no bill. Or rather there is, because it's just doing a line between those. But if I return path dot Bezier, oh no, this should be in Coppice core. Path stroked with width. config.arrowhead size. Why can it not be used? I haven't made it private, have I? Bezier path. Not private. Oh. Okay. Let's move the Bezier path extension into Coppice core. One of the many places where if Apple had been forward thinking in the mid 2000s, they would have been working to split AppKit into two. So things in AppKit such as NSImage, NSColor, NSBezier path, and so on could have been extracted into a framework that could have been shared between Mac and iOS. So therefore, all the pain of having slightly different Bezier path classes on each platform and slightly different image classes and slightly different color classes and so on wouldn't have happened. It would have made stuff a lot easier. All those Bezier, all those classes in AppKit that you need to use in your data model or lower level stuff outside of the view would just be so much easier if they'd have split up and just used them on iOS. Even if they had to change, like tweak some things, some implementations or something like that, so maybe they're not 100% the same, but they've done that many times before. Right, so hopefully this will build and run. And look at that. Look at how glorious that is. And we will be able to get do a contains point on this and get this working. But we'll probably look into that tomorrow. Remember, UI kit starts out as just CG based graphics. You want to throw away all the next step baggage and needed the performance on the original iPhone. See, one thing I don't get is say, okay, we need the performance on the original iPhone. But the thing is, the original iPhone was more powerful than a lot of the devices that were running, or I mean, even the first versions of macOS 10, let alone going back to the next stuff. So it surprises me when they'll do that, because I think was the next cube was it 1 megahertz that the CPU in it ran at, because it was one of the big things where it had a 1 megahertz, something like that. The original Next hardware ran display PostScript, not Quartz, no anti-aliasing. But the thing is, they were using core graphics, and AppKit uses a fair amount of core graphics, and I can understand. I mean, stuff like needing like core animation and all that sort of stuff. But I think the key question is, why did NS color need to be different to UI color? Why did they need UI image rather than NS image? Why did they need UI when they introduced UI Bezier path? They could have made it like NS Bezier path. And if it's a case of, well, we wanted a bit of a clean break, why didn't they then deprecate the APIs on the Mac and introduce new compatible ones? It's one of those things where if they had had the foresight and basically had 3 layers, where you had foundation, you had stuff beyond foundation, and then you had the actual view stuff, it probably would have made life a lot easier. Because yes, behind the scenes you can do the rendering differently, you can do the color, like how you handle colors differently, you can handle how you do Bezier paths differently behind the scenes. You just need the interfaces to be identical on those things. So it's like, it's not asking for NS view and UI view to be the same, because they need to be different. It's 2 different platforms. But all this basic stuff could have been identical from the start, and it would have made stuff a lot easier. And this colors a memory thing. UI color only does RGB, and this colors design to support printer with CMYK. Okay. But in that case, why not just say that CMYK is not supported on iOS? Why does it need to be UI color? Why not just have it NS color but make it unavailable or something like that? There are many things that it just feels like they've shot themselves in the foot by not having consistency in some of these classes that need to be the same, because everyone's just writing wrappers now to let you basically do this. I mean, I've been doing some stuff where you write wrappers of things for NS color and UI color, or NS image and UI image, where you treat them effectively the same. I mean, the thing is, it isn't even a case of needing the full API available everywhere. Because a lot of the places that you are doing these things, like with an NS color, you're storing an NS color. An NS color has been created in the UI layer and has been stored in the model layer, and then is being used again in the UI layer. So it's one of those things of just needing to be able to effectively store a pointer to these things and do very basic operations like load from disk and save to disk and so on. So yeah, it's one of those things where Apple sort of shot themselves in the foot, because I don't think they were expecting to need to do, like, for other people to deal with this stuff until it was too late. But yeah, to answer your question about why this one is still blocky, I have different code paths for horizontal and vertical. So what we need to do is switch this here over to this approach. In fact, draw helper. Clear engine link. Ooh. Okay, that is something that we can do tomorrow. Basically, the way we've got this done now, this code is basically just a cleaner version of this code here. So what we could in theory do is replace all these methods with this, and then all we need is we'd have the line path, but then the interaction path is just a line path stroked. So we could, in fact, no, let's get that done today. So we'll just get this started. Start point in layout frame, blah, blah, blah. So this is top point. Back from your walk, what have you missed? You have not missed a huge amount, except we have managed to get our nice curve working, thanks to Uli knowing a little bit more about the lower level APIs than I do, and realizing there was a way to do things a bit simpler. Top straight point. Bottom straight point. Half Y. Min start Y. Oh no, min. Oh no, we can just do min Y. Max Y. Left control. Right control, because the way this works compared to this way is that everything is always top to bottom and left to right. Straight point, bottom, straight point. So what we can do here is max X, left control, right control, and actually that should be top and bottom. Top control, bottom control. Okay, that should all work. Top straight point dot X. Bottom straight point dot X. That needs to be Y. Okay. That needs to be Y, and that needs to be Y. Okay, that should work, but we will see. Yep, that looks like it works. Fantastic. So what I was saying we could do, public var line path is this Bezier path, and what we're going to do is we're going to do that. We're going to rename that to vertical path, and this to horizontal path. We're going to delete that. Going to delete that. The interaction path is just return self.line path. Stroked with well, at that I'll return self.line path. And then what we can do here is for the path, we can do arrow. Yeah, we could just do arrow.line path. And they all still draw correctly. Which means path for vertical line, the path for horizontal line. How many lines is that? 76 lines. Go away. And that gets a lot simpler. Okay. So I think that is pretty good for our Coppice coding for the day. We've managed to work out a very good way of getting a path which we can use for interaction. So tomorrow what we're going to do is the actual highlighting, and what that will do is when you move the mouse over, if the mouse is within the bounds of like it's just within the rectangle, we will switch over to the more accurate checking the line, because there's no, like, if we're outside here, there's no point doing an expensive, potentially expensive call of creating a Bezier path and seeing if a point is inside of it, if we can do the cheap call of is the point inside the rectangle, because that is super quick to do. So we might as well do that, because in a lot of cases, like small stuff like this, you're very quickly going to go from one to another. For here, yes, you've got some big stuff, but you've only got a few arrows, and it's not that expensive an operation if you're doing it once or twice, but if you're doing it for every single arrow on here, you want to generally avoid that, whereas you can do the rectangle one very quickly. Unfortunately, we can't do a simple is it within the view, because we need to be able to do overlapping views, because for example here, this arrow's view is above this arrow's view, so if we did a hit test, it would pick up this one, but if we move the thing here, then it is in this arrow. So we're going to have to work that out. Anyway, I'm going to have a very quick break, and when we get back, let us do some overlay shenanigans. So I will see you all in a few minutes. Okay, I am back and we have Unity open. So I needed that short break, partly because I needed to stand up. And you may think, Martin, don't you have a sit-stand desk? And I do. Unfortunately, the microphone is not attached to the desk at the moment. The microphone is on my old mic stand that I believe I mentioned I got when I was a teenager on the floor. So as I raise the desk, the microphone stand does not raise with me. So thankfully I do have a desk mounted stand coming, hopefully next week. But it does mean that I cannot switch to standing up during the stream until then, because the microphone will not move with me. But yeah, speaking of the microphone, we are going to be doing some fixes to it. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to speak to you about. I'm not sure if I mentioned this on stream before, but I definitely have on Twitter. I have been having issues with sleep. Specifically with insomnia. And the thing is, the item with the insomnia is not myself. It is my Mac. My Mac has been having all sorts of problems sleeping. Now you may say, well, surely it should be simple. Surely it should just be it goes to sleep and then it does nothing and then it wakes up when you wake it up. And indeed, that is how it should work. That's how it generally used to work. Well, at the very least, that is roughly how my old iMac worked. Now, what Apple tries to do now is they try to be clever. They try to wake up a Mac to do certain things, very quick jobs that it can do, such as downloading email and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. The problem is when that breaks. And when you have lots of stuff plugged in, for example, a microphone, a stream deck, external hard disks, then those things all wake up when the Mac wakes up. Now, with Apple's plan, that's a bit of a problem because the Mac's meant to wake up 3 times an hour. And then it powers on all these external devices when it does that. But the even bigger problem is when it doesn't wake up 3 times an hour, because it stays on for several hours. And this is the sleep log for my computer. And all of these red regions are times when I had put the computer to sleep, but it had not been asleep. So you can see all of these black regions are when the computer's been awake. All these grey regions are when the screen's been off and everything has been turned off and it has been asleep and should have been asleep. The orange regions are when it wakes up. So we get insomnia here for 45 seconds. What's happening? It's opening up for 30 seconds for mail to refresh and then going back to sleep. Fine. No issue with that. But then we get a long insomnia here. What is this doing? Well, it is waking up and the application refresh, 90 seconds, address book sync, 90 seconds, background task here, about 2 minutes. Performance reporter, 1 hour, 49 minutes. Why are you needing to do that for that long in the background? Spotlight, 2 hours, 34 minutes. Why are you needing to index things in the background? Like when everything is asleep. There hasn't been that much change. Push notifications, 3 hours, 8 minutes and 39 seconds. I have no idea what these are. Why is there a push notification for an outgoing message? What possible thing could there be for a push notification to keep things alive for this long? And then the worst one is Photos is keeping it awake for 3 hours doing some background tasks. And yes, Photos can do things such as syncing with iCloud, or it can do things such as facial recognition and do those in the background while your machine is asleep. The problem is my photo library has one photo in it and I've got iCloud sync turned off because I don't sync to iCloud. So my computer is spending all this time awake. Now you may say, oh, well, that's not an issue. Well, it's an issue for two reasons. One, it's using a bit more power than it otherwise would. Second, well, three issues actually. The second issue is, for example, my Stream Deck screen stays on most of the time. That is not good for the Stream Deck. But the third issue is that the warmest my Mac Studio ever gets is when it is sleeping. Like, to the touch, my Mac Studio is fairly cool. While I am streaming, have been compiling, have my overlay open, I have Unity open, I have a Safari window open, I am using about 70% GPU, doing all this stuff. The Mac Studio barely gets above around 45 degrees. I can wake it up from sleep and it's about 55, 60 degrees. Why? Because it's doing all this stuff and the fan isn't really on. So that's what all these are. These are when the computer wakes up and it starts doing these tasks, but it overheats and it has to force itself to sleep. So the best, like the most consistent time of it sleeping was on Tuesday when it kept getting these thermal issues where the computer got too hot. Now, too hot for here is still relatively cool for a computer. I don't believe this is getting to the point where it is a serious thermal issue, but it's serious enough that it shouldn't be getting this hot in a background task. And it shouldn't be that the hottest my computer gets is when it is sleeping. And it is getting to the point, you'll notice that here it's a bit better. It was sleeping a bit here. And that is because I've turned Wi-Fi off and on again. Now, I'm going to see whether that fixes it. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to have to shut down my computer overnight because this is getting ridiculous. Sleep is so fundamentally broken, and it is not just me. There are other people with Macs that have the same issues. It's worse for the people with laptops because it's draining their batteries, so they're putting their computer to sleep and waking up to find that their battery is dead because it is doing these things. And it's the same things for everyone. It is some push notification stuff. Photos, Spotlight are all causing all this processing to happen when the computer is meant to be asleep, meant to be doing nothing. And you know full well that if a third-party app was doing this stuff, it will be being killed by the system. It's only because Apple's doing this stuff that it is allowed to waste the resources this much. And yes, it may not be using a lot of power, but as I said earlier in the stream, power is getting very expensive. Your energy bills are going up, so every little bit counts. So I'm actually going to get a power meter to plug in to see how much energy is being used while it is asleep and get an actual monetary figure on it. But the problem is that I can't figure this out. And thankfully, I mean, it shows how much of a problem this is. Sleep Aid has been created. An app has been created to help diagnose sleep issues with your Mac. If something has been created by someone else to sell to people to diagnose a problem with a fundamental part of your product because it is breaking for that many people, maybe you should invest in fixing that. This product is a fantastic product. The developer has done a very good job. It should not exist. Like, I'm pretty sure most people, potentially even including the developer, because I'm assuming the developer wrote this because they were frustrated with these and trying to understand the raw logs. I want Apple to Sherlock this. And Sherlocking an app like this is literally just them fixing their bugs. And I just wish that they would, because this is annoying. It is frustrating. It is, you know what, we've got to come here because I need to use this face. This is how this makes me feel. Fix your software, Apple. This is fundamental stuff. Stop faffing about with stuff like Stage Manager that is completely and utterly broken. Stop rewriting system preferences. You don't need to do that. You're just taking something that sort of worked and then completely breaking it and throwing away stuff and not implementing things in a proper Mac-like way. Do you want to know what you want to do? All this red, get rid of it. It should not be here. Like, make it go away. Do you want to know what I want? I want my computer, when I put it to sleep, to, and this may surprise you, Apple, sleep. I don't want it to be on and doing stuff all the time. I want it to sleep. I want to be able to turn this off. And guess what? You can potentially turn this off, because come over here, come and have a look. There are options. Wake for maintenance. When enabled, this Mac will wake around 3 times an hour to back up using Time Machine, check email, calendar, photo scanning, and other iCloud updates. Okay, that's fine. If I turn that off, warning, disabling wake for maintenance can lead to this Mac waking up every few seconds. Because on Apple Silicon, it does that. On Intel Macs, disabling this, it just won't wait for maintenance. But on Apple Silicon, it can cause it to wake up every few seconds instead of 3 times an hour. Well, what do you have to do then? Well, you've got to disable Wi-Fi. What happens when you disable Wi-Fi? Well, things such as unlocking with Apple Watch stops working. AirDrop stops working. You need to have Wi-Fi on for these things, so I have to have wait for maintenance on, but wait for maintenance makes it look like this. Do you want to know what colour this is, Apple? Do you want to know what colour this is? Look at the colour of my face. That is the colour that it is. Do you want to know what colour it should be? Not the colour of my angry face. Why? Why can you not make your software work well? Why is it that indie developers can produce better quality software than the richest company on the entire planet? Why? Frustrating. It's annoying. And it's just wasteful. Like, Apple's like, oh, we care about the environment. Really? Really? Does this look like you care about the environment with all of this energy usage? Anyway, speaking of bugs, let's fix my own bugs. So, I need to tweak a microphone, because my mouth is a little too wide open at the moment, but that should be easy enough to fix, because if we come over here to do Pilkybot and loudness factor, I should be able to reduce that, and there we go. That's a lot better. Let's see if we set that to 20. Oh, I've set that to 2017. Set that to 20. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Yeah, much better. I mean, you can see the difference if you look at the difference between here you can see it opening and moving, and here is not closing, and this is entirely just down to it being a different microphone with different levels. So it's why I added this loudness factor in. This is a lot more sensitive microphone, so it doesn't need quite the same level of boosting. It also helps, the reason it was that loud before is that my headset was being plugged into a USB adapter that was plugging into my Thunderbolt dock, which meant that there was not a lot of gain on it because it didn't really have an amplifier. It was just whatever the built-in system, because I wasn't plugging it into the back, into the high impedance port. So yeah, now with a proper microphone, it's got all the proper amplifiers and processing built in, so it actually boosts the signal a lot more and provides a better signal. So yeah, I think that one is okay. So what do I want to do? I want to go to the overlay. And I want to right, so that is done. So what we are going to do now is I want to work out what to do with the butt faces, because for example, I've got plane here. I mean, one thing you can see that I'm thinking of doing is straightening out the lines on the glasses so that they're a bit easier to deal with, because at the moment, while the curve looks okay, it's a bit of a pain to get right when I'm resizing things because the curve is never the same. Whereas if it's a line, it's going to be a bit easy to do. Now, other stuff I want to do is, for example, look to the left, look to the right, look up, look down. So I want to be able to do that. What would be quite cool is if I could look down and then also have the glasses. Well, even, I mean, this is another thing where having the straight lines would help. Not even the full glasses, you'd have the eyes move down and then the lenses could just move down just a little bit. So it's like the glasses just move. So it's like you get to the well, you'd get to the edge here, and then the glasses would just move ever so slightly, just when you're pushing it that little bit further. But in order to do all this, I need to redesign some things. I need to redesign how the glasses are done. I need to redesign how the eyes are done. And I need to look at like the cry here. Notice how it's already over there. Well, how am I going to do that? So I need to actually work out, okay, well, I have the eyes, but if I move there, it's not really like it needs to be a bit further, so I would need to probably shift these a bit further apart, just a bit. But then I can do wrong thing. Go like that, and that just gives enough, because one of these is at the edge and one of them's just a bit off center. And then again, where are the glasses? I could shift. Well, I could actually just do the whole glasses this time, because I'm moving left to right. On that and the eyes. Just move them all a bit. yeah, it's just all sorts of little details that we could play around with. But I would need to basically separate all these out properly. Having the eyes be able to move down and up for different expressions. Not as in like I'm shifting around where they're looking, but as in for the cry expression, I want them here, but for the surprised, I want them a bit further up. For the plain, I want them even further apart. For worried, I want them in a... if I turn that off, I want them in a different position. And I also want to adjust how I'm actually laying these out, because if I open recent face map, at the moment I have eye, like left eye, right eye, all the mouth shapes, and the background. And it's like, these don't need to be here. I could define these in code. Like, rather than doing all this way, I should really start defining some stuff in code. I wanted to do the face maps all like this, because then I can do, for example, the blue screen and change the colors there. But what I can probably do just as easily, because I need to do a lot of code here, is just basically create a definition file where I can create the shapes and everything, but I can define where things are, because then I can center all of these, but then just define offsets for the eyes, for the glasses, and so on. I mean, the glasses, do I have... no, Villain Finder. So, I mean, for glasses, we have all of this stuff here, but it would be a lot easier if I just had a simple glasses, stuff like this. Because, for example, most of these are the same. They're just maybe different colors, and occasionally you get a different shape. You get accessories here. What if I could just define, okay, there is an accessory image, and this is at this point here? Because if I could do that, I could animate that. I could have that dropping down and fading out, and then another one coming in and dropping down and fading out. So I could add all these additional details. So what I will probably do is, at the moment, this is in Blender. All of the planes, I've created them in Blender. What I'll probably do is just have a screen plane in Blender and get rid of all of the face planes in Blender and add the face planes in Unity, so that I can have full control, because anything created in Blender is tied to the armature, whereas stuff created in Unity, I can tie it to the armature, but I can change its positions, which makes it a lot easier. I can, for example, I can do that with the screen that displays a message. I can do that with the subscriber thing down here. So I can do that all a lot easier in Unity. Now, one other thing that I want to do is, while I'm doing all this, get the arms working as well. Or at least model them and figure out what I want to do with the arms. Building the animations may take a while, so actually getting the arms doing stuff may be something that takes a while, but it would be nice to get the arms working and figure out what I want to do there. So I think what we're going to be doing is some planning. So we'll spend, see, it's about, I'll probably go for another 10-15 minutes. Let's just plan some stuff out. Let me just hide this so I can bring this up. And I can bring a document across. Okay. So I'll make this bigger so everyone can see. So what sort of things do we want? Well, let's focus on the eyes. We need separate left, right. Blinking. 3 phase or 3 frame. We need X, Y offset. We need moving eyes. Should adjust glasses at extreme. We need glasses. And I think that's it. The face, we want background color. There are going to be 2 eyes, there's going to be a mouth, and there's going to be accessories. So the mouth, what do we want for the mouth? Well, the key thing is I want to increase it to 5 frames. I think having more in-betweens would make the mouth smoother. Now, the reason I'm doing 5 frames is that I can still do... actually, do I want 6? Because if I do 6... Yeah, 6 might be better. Because the key thing is, it looks a bit out of place when it's smooth like this. But it looks... if I go here and switch to the... That's not pixels, that's pixels. It looks good in pixels being this being a bit like lower frame rate. So, but I want it a bit higher frame rate. So I think 6 frames for the mouth, because that gives, I mean, it's not like an animation frame per se, because it's based on the volume. A closing it will be a bit of that, but it gives 6 states for 6 volume levels. Probably gives a lot more smoothness for the other ones, and it also means that I can divide it various ways. So I can divide it into 3 items. Welcome back, Kieran. Right, so we want that, and we want a Y offset. Accessories, we want what can we have for accessories? Want next Y, want the image, we want the size because it could be different. Because, for example, we'd probably have... would we have the things as an accessory? I suppose we could have the tiers as an accessory, because then what we could do with accessories is set stuff on so that they are... You set a base XY position, but then you can tie the XY to something else. So for the tiers, we can tie the XY to the glass lenses. Yeah, that could work. Okay. So we want for that. And then what we want is... let's flesh this out a bit more. Arms. So we'll stick that up here. We'll make this a nice big title. And then... arms, 2 segment plus claw. Right, what do we want the arms to do? So some things we want to do is wave, flail, because that would be good for both angry and for worried, having them flailing about. Because some of these are things where I want to have certain control over it, but I'd also want to have just general animations. So when I switch to worried, I can set it to flail, or I can, like, the expression, I can have a do whatever the animation is for that expression. So we can have a wave, we can have a flail, scratch, head / chin, whichever makes sense for the size of it. Probably a grab, because it would be nice to be able to grab some stuff and pick it up and move it around at some point. I think those are a good thing to do. So what we want is, we probably also want so those would be animations. You made a flail animation? Sinister. I don't think I've seen that. Right, let's. So we've got the arms, we've got the animations. Trigger animation. Do I want that a... No, I don't think I want any sort of control over them. I think it's just create some animations with the arms and be able to trigger them. So, like, stop animation. And it will just depend, like, some states may not have an arm animation. Some may have an arm animation. Because the arms are going to be, like, inside the body most of the time. So it makes sense that they're inside the body, and, like, when I want to grab something, they come out and they grab it. Or when I switch to confused mode, they come out and start scratching the chin. Or worried mode, they come out and start flailing about. Right. Okay. I think this is good to start working on. I'm going to have to plan things a bit. In fact, let me show you. I did some sketches. Let's see if iPad is working. It is not. Let me reboot my iPad. So I did some very rough sketches, but some of the expressions are better than what I currently have. So they may lead to some improvements, because some of the expressions I have at the moment I really like. Passcode. Okay, so that is showing, so I can bring this up. Okay. So some of them, like the smile and the anger, I couldn't get as good as what I have now, because I mean, the smile looks a bit better. So I think that's just a thing of shrinking the pupils down a bit. The angry, I think, looks better here. The happy looks about the same. The worried, I could probably make the eyes a bit bigger. But then one that looks a lot better is this. If we compare the two, I've always thought that this feels a bit angry on the bot at the moment. It looks like a bit cross rather than a bit confused and puzzled. I think just having the eyes be sort of a similar size, but just have like one of the lenses turn into an arched eyebrow, I think would make it look a lot more just puzzled rather than having some element of being angry. Then we have crying, surprised. I need to work out, like, having the squiggly line mouth there, that just looks better than what I currently have input. In fact, what's the difference between the two? Is it literally just the rate of squiggles? I'm gonna have to work that out, because why does, maybe it's the size of the brains, because we've got 1, 2, 3, it's the same number of peaks. Maybe it's the eyes that are off then. But yeah, so I've just been playing around, so I'll probably tweak some of these expressions a bit and see how they go. Oh, this is magnificent. Let's get this up on the screen. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. I meant to press that. That's pretty fantastic. I may have to study this for what to do animation wise, but I mean the arms aren't going to be too far off what you have there. They're just going to be very simple bunch of spheres and cylinders, because that's all they really need to be. But yeah, I think what I am going to do is, I think I'm going to call the stream there, because I need to head off and get a few things done. But I think we've done a decent amount of planning there. We've got all of our plans here for the next stage of the stream, which is really focusing on the Pokebot. We've got the bridge done. We could do some more stuff, but I think getting this stuff on the Pokebot done will really help bring things to life, because the Pokebot still feels a little dead. It needs to feel a lot more alive. So Candy Juice 21, thank you for the follow. Hope you're enjoying the stream. But yeah, so I think we will come back tomorrow, same time, same place, 1 p.m. Here on Twitch, or 1 p.m. UK time here on Twitch. And yeah, we will do some more work on Coppice. We will actually get the hovering picking up for arrows and maybe try and get highlighting implemented, and then we'll start work on some of this. So yeah, I hope you have all had a wonderful stream. Ow, 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 ow. Given the amount of bugs that we had early on, that's probably about right. So yes, thank you for coming. Hope you've had a good time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until we meet again, hopefully tomorrow, as always, happy coding.